Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. So in today's video, guys, I'm going to be going over the Hell module dungeons. I'm going to show you my teams, give you an idea of like the gear and stuff that I have on. We'll talk about the cheese composition that is out there because I think it is very important to know, especially if you want to run it yourself. I have not been doing that just because I'm kind of just preparing for end game even further on. Because I think as more updates come out, I don't quite know that that is going to work. So this is a general overview of the Hell stages. My best advice on how you can eventually advance to this or advance further if you're already on the lower Hell stages. And yeah, kind of just give you an idea of what you should expect out of your characters. So the first thing to note is I think a lot of people overvalue this. The modules are important, but right now, at this current stage in the game, I think shells are just way more important. It's literally what I've been spending all of my energy on, and if you guys are looking at like my account level, I've refreshed every single day, and I started to burn mental stabilizers because we haven't seen anything about the 2x event, which is pretty frustrating. So I'm literally just running shell dungeons. We'll talk about that in a second. But the modules themselves are important, right? That's where you get a lot of your stats from. But until you can actually consistently farm health 4, it's not an efficient use of your energy. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't farm some of these stages, because I have. You know, I've followed the hyperlink charter. I've farmed them in my spare time every once in a while to get a few pieces that I'm trying to look for, and then I move on. But yeah, don't overvalue this. Another thing is if you're not here yet, the step up from Nightmare to Hell is huge. It's a big boost, and Hell 1 to Hell 4 is huge. Like Hell 1 and Hell 2 are very easy for me. Hell 3 is about 70 to 80% success rate, at least on Terramaton, and then it's different on the other dungeons as well. So don't expect if you can do like Hell 1 and Hell 2 easy that Hell 3 and 4 you're close, because you're probably not. There's just a bunch of different things that happen with the boss. He just hits way harder. You know, if you bring in a negative affinity, it gets worse. Also, like Terramaton and also Aurora, turn meter effect like efficiency is lessened. So, you know, heroes like Marvel aren't as good in this area. Mio, same thing. So yeah, it's just like, it's a whole different type of ball game. So let's just quickly talk about the cheese comp, which is essentially ditting. I'm not going to show a run, but I'll just walk you through what happens. So Beatin goes. She puts up her attack damage and crit damage up on all allies. Dinah goes in. She does her big debuff for defense down, vulnerable, and erosion. Ditting goes. He ultimates. Does a crap ton of damage. Then Beatin goes. Gives him an extra turn boost. He hits again. And if that doesn't kill him, his third turn eventually will. So on Hell 2, you see like people can 3-man it, but up to Hell 4 and even Inferno, you need a little bit more support because Ditting might die. Inferno can even be done with this as well. You just have like Chloros coming in here for the additional damage as well. And this is just more cheese because Veronica puts up Soul Ward, which is invincible. You can't die. So yeah. So if you want to cheese things, all you really need is a Ditting with his skill 3, skill 2 maxed, and then his skill 1 up to the damage multiplier being increased, and you can do it. All you have to do is go into recent clears and you get an idea of what's going on, but I won't touch on that. So I wanted to show you my teams to give you an example of what the gear is going to look like. All right. And if we look in Hell 3, because this is, like I said, the highest stage I can do at about a 70 to 80% clip. So my team compositions are a buffer. In this case, it's Freya. It can also be Bientin. It could also be somebody like Turandot, which we saw, which is an SR. Anyone who really gives like attack up is going to be fine. Crit rate is also another thing that allows you to build a lot less crit rate on your characters to amplify their damage. So it doesn't necessarily need to be an attack up hero, but crit rate also works there. Here it's Freya for me. She just does too much. It makes too much sense. My debuffer is Kloss. She's also just way too good. Lily is my flex spot or my additional support. She gives so many more extra turns and speed up to the entire team, which is really important in these dungeons because they're a lot faster. And then I have a healer in Chiaki. So that is my whole team composition. You do not necessarily need Chloros here. I mean, Didding gets the job done. Messiah also gets the job done. And Leon does get the job done. The only reason I reset Leon is because I wanted to play around with Chloros. It wasn't the most efficient thing. I just thought he looked cool and he'd be fun, and he has been fun. But I do eventually need to build up Leon again because I can't clear certain content because she's kind of needed. So this is my team here. Now, if you get an idea of what I'm working with my damage dealer, at this point in the game, you're going to need your damage dealer to be 6-star for all of these dungeons. It's going to help you with shells as well. So your very first 6-star should be a damage dealer. It's most likely Leon. And in this case, it's going to work fine. After that, your next 6-star will also be a damage dealer. I don't think I have any support heroes that are 6-star. I think they're all damage dealers. So I got Gray, Messiah, Shiada, and Chloros. So that's what you'll need at this stage. The reason being is because the attack stat is just such an important thing for damage dealers. And on these higher stages, the bosses hit really hard and damage dealers are squishy. So the extra HP and defense truly matters for them. That's why they need to be number 1. As you see here, I've got Mythic and I've got Outstanding pieces on them. So prior to me being able to farm these dungeons, he had Epic and he had Outstanding gear on. As you get more pieces, you eventually upgrade, and then you can climb up the hell stages. But these are his stats, and you should also note that I have skilled him up. So he's getting like the additional HP there. He's getting additional maybe crit rate or speed. So he does get additional stat boosts as well. But he only has an Epic shell on. And the shell does have crit damage on it, so it's increasing his stats. Same thing with attack. And his final damage for reason. Now, if you guys are like, wow, those are the perfect rolls, that's why I'm farming shell dungeons a lot, because you want to be able to roll these passives. This is one of the easiest ways to get stats. And when I say easy, I mean not easy in the sense that it won't take a long time. It's just when it comes to modules, not only are you looking for like a good main stat on the right side of your heroes, but you're also looking for good substats. Like this piece here isn't even that great. It's got crit damage and it's got a little bit of speed, but it rolled into defense. This piece will eventually be trash. But the reason why I'm able to clear up to health 3 is because I have a shell that has really solid passives. And I didn't even roll the highest rolls here. It's just I've been using this since I've kind of acquired this. But that's an important piece to note. Now the other heroes, the other support heroes, as well as Chiaki, she doesn't have it on right now because I'm running another dungeon that needs this, but they are running Gigabyte. And I'll talk about this shell a little more in depth whenever we talk about shells. But this is, I think, your premier support shell that you want to farm a lot, and you can get it in Nico Nana, which is accessible. So that's really cool. Eventually, I will upgrade Chloros' shell to this guy. I forget his name. White Fang. I'll eventually put him on here, but my passives are pretty bad on this shell, so that's why I haven't done that yet. So Gigabyte is certainly the premier shell here, but as you saw, the passives there aren't very good either, which is why I'm farming so I can reroll them. But this is my Freya. She doesn't have any investment into her skills. Support heroes are easier to build. You just need HP, speed, and then if they're debuffers, you need effect resistance and stuff like that. So what you're looking for is just a lot of HP, some effect accuracy, and more HP, more defense. That means the left side of your gear as well, like your defense stat on your main shield, you might need to level it up to level 15. You might need to level up your HP helmet all the way up so you get the additional HP to be able to survive. That's honestly why I can't clear Hell 4 or even Hell 3 consistently, is because Freya and Kloss, they die too quickly. So leveling up to 6-star or just getting more stats out of, this set piece might allow me to clear it more successfully, because this is an epic piece instead of outstanding. So for Kloss, you're just looking at speed, effect accuracy, and as much HP as you can possibly get. HP, effect accuracy, HP. You get the point. It's the same exact thing with Lily. I've just built her really high speed. I don't know why. There you go. So high speed, and then just as much bulk as I can kind of get. Chiaki, same thing. She's got really high HP. Now, even though her speed is slow, this is where Gigabyte is very good. And you'll see this on all of my dungeon teams, is Gigabyte, after the enemy has taken 3 turns, it boosts your turn meter by 35% if it's awakened, and if it's not awakened, it'll boost it by 30%. So you necessarily don't have to boost or awaken it, because that does take a lot of investment. But if you wanted to, you could just keep it unawakened and the 30% boost is big. This allows you to kind of get around the turn meter reduction effects that are on Terramaton and Aurora. So you're just boosting your own turn meter now instead of reducing theirs. It's a very, very important shell. In regards to teams, like if you don't see a team that you're using, there's tons of resources out there for actual team compositions, and I'll eventually make a video, I think, that goes into an actual breakdown of the teams. But for now, I just wanted to talk about the general idea. When it comes to my Doki Doki, this is actually the area that I can farm the highest. Same concepts here. I have my damage dealer, which in this case is Shiada, at 6-star. She's wearing a mythic shell, and I still need to re-roll some better substats for this, but I did get a decent one on the first roll. So this is the type of damage that she's doing. This gear, in my opinion, it's also not that good. Like, I have way too much crit rate. I'm missing out on some damage on the crit damage. So if I want, I can really try and find a crit damage passive effect here. I don't necessarily need it to be speed or anything. And then same thing here, I can just look for more possible damage. So I have some upgrades that can be made to make this more consistent, because it's not consistent. In this dungeon, I'm also using Valerian. Valerian is a fantastic SR if you guys are interested in having more kind of cheese compositions available to you. She has like a cheat death mechanic. If she's in the hazy dream state, if someone dies, they won't end up dying. They'll recover some health, and then she'll snap out of it. So she's a really great support character. She provides shields and then like random buffs. So if you're looking into characters like that, I would look into her. I think there's some really good guides out there about some of these individual characters. But in this dungeon, I think a lot of people know that Kazuyo the Reverie is really important. I've also skilled her up too. So these are other things that you're going to have to do with your characters, is you're going to have to locate 1 or 2 specific SRs or SSRs, and you're going to have to invest some of those lattices in them, or lattices. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you really want to prioritize the heroes that allow you to scale. In this case, for me, it was Kazuyo the Reverie. I skilled her up extremely early, and I still use her to the end game. She has that 3-turn cooldown with Slumber, which ends up being really key in this dungeon to remove the damage reduction on Doki Doki. So I had to fully skill her up. She's still using an epic shell, but to make this more consistent, I will end up putting Gigabyte on her. So I'll put Gigabyte on Valerian, and I'll put Gigabyte on her. this is what I know I need to do to make this more consistent, because right now it's like 40% clear or 50% clear. Not good enough for me to keep running it. So that's the same thing. You know, my healer in here is Ling Luo. I'm just a lot of bulk and then as much speed as I can get. I am running her on Artisan. This is another shell that's okay to have one copy of. Maybe even 2 copies. But I'll talk about shells there in a second. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of the general compositions of what you're looking for. So I think you've seen a lot of these heroes already. And on Hell 2 of Aurora, what I've ended up using is I'm a big advocate of Viper. I've talked about Viper. I've skilled Viper up. He's not in the gear that I was using him on because I'm not farming this right now. But I've fully skilled up his skill 3. That's really important because this puts it on a 3-turn cooldown, and he can remove 2 buffs because Aurora does put on buffs. And then I also run him in Gigabyte. So you've seen the healer in Ling Luo, you've seen Lily's gear, you've seen Shiata's gear, and you've seen Valerian's gear. It's like the same heroes, the ones that I can use in multiple stages. That's where I'm using my skill ups. That's where I'm trying to cater shell passives around to make sure that they utilize their skill kits a little bit more, like shield rolls in the passive, more health, things like that, where it's transferable amongst a couple characters. So let's talk about the shell dungeons, because that is probably the most important thing. So when it comes to these shells, let's actually go to the shell dungeon itself. If you want to farm something and farm the most useful types of shells, I think Nico Nana is probably the best. Currently, I do think Hoyan offers some good shells prior to stage 50, but the nice thing is 3 of the 4 shells here are quite good. So White Fang is good, Artisan is really good. This shield, even if you're not using this on a defense damage dealing hero, you can still utilize this shield to keep, your damage dealer healthy, because the shield itself is really huge and it might help you survive 1 or 2 hits that would usually kill you. I would not underestimate this shell. Gigabyte we've talked about already. Just additional turns is always good. And then this one, I think it's more of a PvP shell. But to farm Hell stages and probably even Inferno, I think all you need are these, in all honesty. I think the shells from Rengo Kutsu are very strong, and I'll talk about those in a separate video. But when it comes to Nico Nana or even Sharon, the reason why I'm farming Sharon is because the amount of training data that you get from Sharon is, it's not significantly greater. It's a little bit greater than Nico Nana. So I'm just trying to maximize the amount of currency that I'm getting, because every little bit counts. The beautiful thing about farming these shell dungeons is not only does it give you training data, but it also gives you the Etheria coin. So if you just farm a bunch of modules, I think you'll see that you don't really have enough Etheria coin to even level them up. So you'll need just a handful of pieces that you'll want to target to level up. And then the rest is going to be in your shells. The reason why that training data is so important is this is the only place that you can farm this. It's the only place. If you do any other piece of content in the game, it will drop Etheria coin. So that currency is essentially universal, where this currency is not. So this is where I see fit the most useful place to farm currently. Once I have X amount of shells leveled up, then I don't have to farm here anymore. All I have to do is re-roll my passives, and then I can utilize my energy elsewhere. But I'm not going to get stuck because of shells at that point. So it's a way more efficient use of my time, in my opinion. The other nice thing about Sharon is if you're farming that, not only are you getting more training materials, but then you can recycle almost everything that you get from her, because Gigabyte is better than all of these other shells. Now, if you're a PvPer, that doesn't really apply to you. But from a PvE standpoint, I wholeheartedly think that Gigabyte is better than the healing shell. The only thing that the healing shell offers you is more variety in your matrices. But if you're running your support heroes like just on speed or Wellspring, you know, the health module, you don't need these. So you can literally just recycle all of them. So you'll get your reconfigured chips, which is what you're going to need to reroll passives. And then you're also getting more training data. So that's what I do, is I run a bunch of Sharon, and then I just trade in or recycle all of these shells that are in Sharon. These two are not in Sharon, so I don't recycle those. And then at this point, when you're farming mythic shells, you should never keep epic shells. You really shouldn't. If you're one of those people that has FOMO and you don't want to get rid of a shell that you think you might need later, you need exactly 10 shells to fully awaken one. So you'll level up 1, crunch 1, level it up again, crunch 2, level it up again, crunch 3, level it up again, crunch 4. So that's 10 total shells that you'll need to crunch, just in case you guys were wondering. So my plan right now, you saw my modules. I'm not planning on working on that at all unless I have some sitting around that I can now level up, because I have enough gear to maybe take them from 12 to 15. One of those pieces, maybe 2 pieces max. And then I'm just going to start re-rolling passives on my shells. But yeah, that's kind of the general overview, guys. If you're getting stuck, that is why. Really target just a handful of shells, maybe 6 or 7 of them. You know, your gigabytes, 2 or 3 gigabytes, 2 or 3 white fangs, and then maybe 1 or 2 artisans, and just farm the heck out of that thing until you can re-roll passives that give you either enough damage or enough sustain to eventually keep climbing, and you'll get a gist of how you're progressing. But I hope that helped. I know it was a lot, but I'm trying to give as much information as I possibly can, and hopefully it helped you get there. Let me know in the comments below if it's helpful to you, if I shed some light on some things. But that's basically what I got for you today. So I appreciate you checking out the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.